Hey, happy days. It's Yvonne here from Women's Fitness Adventures. Welcome to Monday Night Live. Hope that you can hear me okay. I've got the different headset in, and I was just trying to order some hiking gear online. I head away for an adventure on Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening. So just making sure I have all my gear ready to go. I did have a water bladder malfunction on the Great Ocean Walk hike a couple of weeks ago. So I haven't done anything about that. So today I decided I'd better do it because it's not far away. But the brand of water bladder that I use is not available in many places, and I'm not overly happy with that brand at the moment because there's been a couple of malfunctions in a short space of time. But I'll give it a third time and see how we go. So that's what I was doing just now, and I haven't finished shopping at that store. So don't you love that about online shopping? So welcome to Monday Night Live. If you are watching live, please say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. I know there are first timers that tune in every week, and some of you are watching now on YouTube as well, because we replay it to there or store it on YouTube. So there is a whole history of our Monday Night Lives on there as well. So tonight, get ready, hold on to your seats. It is what I have some business besties, and we have a saying. It's called a love slap. Yes, meant with the kindest of intentions, but I want to share with you some of the general conversations, general feedback, and things that I'm getting now that it's coming to adventure time and everyone is starting to think about what their adventures are going forward. I want to talk about adventure gradings and trail talk and trail fitness talk as well, and as it pertains to you. And a lot of things that we've been chatting about over the past couple of weeks are kind of going to blend into this conversation. So if you don't want to have a love slap, which is meant with the best of kindness and intention, maybe close your ears or walk away now, but hold on, everybody else, because I know you all have it in you. It's just you have to believe that too. So hello, Sharon from the Gold Coast, not long to your adventure. And hello, Leanne, not long since we had our adventure, and hope that you're getting ready for yours. And hello, Nicholas from Kilimanjaro, and hello, Karen from Claremont as well. So this time next week, we won't be having a Monday Night Live, but I will be coming to you every day from where I am. And I am just happening to be with the lovely Carolyn, who has just shown up. I am happening to be in this beautiful place called Greece next Monday. So I will be giving you a live little update every day that I can. Some days we may not have much internet, but I will be there under blue skies with the blue ocean behind me and the mountains and stuff like that, sharing the tales of our adventure from there. So hello, Susan, as well, both of you back from Stadium Stomp in Melbourne. So today I want to talk about adventure gradings and trail fitness and trail talk as well. And you know, as we gear up, and some of you may have seen on our website, we are slowly, there's about a third of them up there at the moment, putting up expressions of interest for our adventures for next year. And it's really easy to get excited and put your name down for everything, which is fabulous, because there isn't any obligation. It's just, oh, that one takes my interest. I might put my name on that to learn a little bit more when the details come out in a few weeks. And I really encourage you to do that. But, you know, I had to do something today that I didn't want to do, but I had to do it, and I had to make some decisions, and it ties into adventure grading and trail talk, trail fitness talk. And, you know, I had this opportunity to purchase a program, another program for the business, you know, that runs in the background, that kind of stuff. And it works. It really, really works. But I knew that I just didn't have the time, or no, I didn't have the time. I do have the time. We all have the time. Take note of that. This is your first love slap. We all have the time. If you don't know what a love slap is, it is the kindest of intentions. Comes from my business group that I belong to. The kindest of intentions to go, hey, you know, this is really important. Take a listen here. And hello, Kim, heading off to Cinque Terre soon as well. I knew that this opportunity was great, but I did not want to or have the ability to create the time so that I could focus on it right now. And that is crucial when it comes to how to choose an adventure. So when we have, in a couple of weeks' time, our multi-day hiking webinar Q&A, that is one of the things that we are going to share about multi-day adventures. Is if you choose an adventure and choose wisely, then you will be focused and create time and attention and make it a priority to train for that. And that comes to adventure gradings. So what are adventure gradings and what are our adventure gradings here at Women's Fitness Adventures? And we'll go into this a lot more detail on that webinar. So if you haven't registered for that webinar, I would suggest you do ahead of Showcase. So adventure gradings in our world are based on hiking fitness. So when we class an adventure as introductory fitness, introductory hiking, we don't consider that an introduction to fitness, that you will have known at some point in your life, whether it's recent or not, what it is to feel fit. And fit is a relative thing, and fit is and I say this, and again, this is a blend of all of the Monday Night Lives I think I've ever done, your beautiful love slap of adventure gradings and trail talk, is that fitness is a relative thing, and it's who you surround yourself with. So if you are, very active and out there and hanging around with elite athletes, and you're not an elite athlete, you will think that you are not fit at all. If you are, doing all your regular thing and you hang around with people that don't do much movement at all, then you are fit. So it is all relative. But the important thing is that, it's really easy to compare ourselves and then have that joy taken away. Or it's really easy to have somebody else say, I found that really difficult. And then you start to worry about whether that trail is going to work for you or not. It's like asking an online gamer, to give you advice on running a marathon, who never, the gamer may or may not ever get off their seat. I don't know, maybe I'm being judgmental there. But it's like getting someone to tell you how to run a business who's never worked and had their own business before. So who you take that advice from, this trail fitness talk, is really, really important as well. And that's your love slap number 2 coming right at you. Hello, Kerry, and hello, Karen, and hello, Ellen, and hello, Kerry. Oh, we've got all the Ks lined up in a row there. So what is an adventure grading? So when we class an adventure as introductory, that is introductory hiking fitness adventure. So you may have dabbled a little bit in hiking, but you don't have to have ever done a multi-day hike before. And you've done the fitness and you've done the training, certainly, but you don't have to have ventured into hiking fitness. Then moderate means that you have done some multi-day hikes before, maybe not a lot, but maybe a few. And then challenging means that, you're really prepared for anything that comes your way, and that you are quite adaptable and are prepared to, really focus and put that effort in. So, but the way they're graded is also subjective as well. So, on our adventures, and again, this comes back to, if you haven't downloaded our guide, our multi-day 3 questions to ask before you book your first or next multi-day hike, then you need to download the guide. And if you haven't got the guide, just drop a note in here saying, can you give me the guide? Is that, all trails have, not all trails, the app, all trails will be graded on either the terrain, the distance, the elevation type. But the experiences that we have are all really subjective on that. And what I can say is an easy hike may not be an easy hike to someone. What I can say is a challenging hike may be someone else's absolute strength. So it's all really, really subjective. And I can share tales of adventure where we, when we go on a hike, and I might say, well, today's probably going to be the most challenging day. And everyone has trained for that challenging day and still gets a little bit worried about it, but is able to eat up that trail without any problem at all because they've focused and put their attention on that. Then others where, we and certainly here at Women's Fitness Adventures, we give out the detail of what the trail conditions are like. And I think that's really, really important to know what it's like underfoot. What skills do I need to have for that as well? So adventure gradings can vary, and it varies with what, trail is universal. The codes and colors and all that might look pretty different, but the way the adventure graded is very, very different as well. And if you were to go, with a group of mountaineers, what might be considered introductory for them might be very, very challenging here. What is considered, I've seen in my, history with Women's Fitness Adventures over 10 years hiking, a lot of trails of the world, is that Europeans who grow up on these trails will call something, introductory plus, but it's actually challenging. So, really get to know and understand who the organization that you're going with, and what details they can give you on trail conditions and what type of fitness level, that hiking fitness level, you need to be. And if someone says to you, love slap number 3, I think, that it's okay if you're walking around the block or you're doing, 20-minute walks in your suburb, you'll be fine on the trail. Let me say you won't be. That is your love slap number 3. It's like love shack. We love shack. Because hiking trails are very, very different to the footpath. But in all of this, you might remember a couple of weeks ago, we had a Monday Night Live where we talked about self-belief versus confidence, and knowing our fitness level, knowing what we've achieved before, knowing what we are prepared to commit to as well. And that importance of that personal assessment is critical. Now, I've done the Kokoda Trail twice, the one in New Guinea. I've done it twice and I loved it. Now it's out of my system. I won't be doing it again. And people will often say to me, is it really as hard as they say? And that's a really hard question to answer, because on both occasions I had trained to make sure that I was in the best condition I could be. But what makes that trail hard is that it's hot. There's wildlife that you've probably never seen before. It is really remote. It is the food, depending who you go with. My first one to my second one, I went with different companies. The food was chalk and cheese. The first one, we all lost an enormous amount of weight. We were drilled like military on that trail. The second one, we had the best food. We slowed down the pace as well. It is, it is all literally uphill or downhill. The trail is really jagged and, goes my pack falling over, and wet underfoot and lined with tree roots and stuff. And there are bugs and insects and all sorts of things. You have to be careful of hygiene. Have I sold it to you yet? It is really worth doing if that's what you're interested in. But when someone says to me, is that trail easy? I could say yes or no, because it's based on my experience. So as I've said before, if you want someone to talk you into something, then talk to the person that really had a great experience with it. And if you want someone to talk you out of it, talk to the person that found it difficult or found it challenging or hadn't trained or hadn't prepared, because then you're going to find that it's their world. They're talking from their lens. So it's not really subjective. So you have to weigh up in all of that is, okay, if I'm choosing to do a multi-day hiking adventure and that adventure grading is, let's say, moderate, then what's my personal assessment of what that trail looks like in terms of all the information I have, in terms of how that trail is graded, and my personal experience that I've had or haven't had on the trails, and line that up with what I'm actually prepared to put into. Because anyone with training can do any trail they want. You just have to give yourself that Goldilocks runway that we talk about, and you have to have that self-belief that we spoke about a few weeks ago. And that self-belief, remember, comes from confidence. So if you have done multi-day hiking before and you've been successful, there is no reason that you're not going to be successful again, because you apply the same principles. But it's when you start to get advice from other people that throw in that self-doubt, love slap number 4, other people throw in self-doubt to you, that you tend to second guess yourself, because you're not the other person. They didn't have the experience that you had on the trail. They didn't train the way you did. They're not you. So we need to bring in all of that personal experience about ourselves and match that with the adventure grading and the experience that we want to have. We do know that when people train for adventures as well, and it doesn't, and we are saying this right now to our Couch to Mountain team who we're assembling. And if you're interested in Couch to Mountain, there are only a few spots left, and our webinar is this Thursday night, our last webinar. Is that what are we talking to our Couch to Mountain people about? Is that, if you follow the training plan, but you don't have to have it consume your life. And that's with any adventure, is you don't have to have it consume your life. And if it is consuming your life, well, it can, because you love it so much. But if it is consuming your life and you're starting to resent it, then you need to kind of reassess where it all fits into your life. So let me check in. Hello, Leonie from Gympie. Hello, Ali from Sydney. And hello, Chris from Brisbane. Lovely to have you here. But, I have seen people book onto things with us and with others that generally women in our world will underestimate their fitness ability. And then this comes to second guessing whether they booked the right adventure or not, to second guessing whether they have the skill or not, or whether they are prepared to put in the time or not. So I think that is really important. I also think that we need to reassess our commitment to something. We don't want that red hot chili pepper training plan that I spoke about a few weeks ago, where you think, I'll get to training tomorrow, and all of a sudden tomorrow's here and you're on the adventure and day one and you're thinking, I really haven't done enough. Not in a sense of I'm seeking to be reassured, but in a sense of, holy guacamole, I actually haven't done enough training. And I've seen that happen before as well. So, look and listen for your red flags. And as Dorothy, one of our members, wrote on one of our blogs a few months ago, it is that friendly fear that needs to pull you forward. But, underlying all this, love slap number 5 is, don't let other people's assessment of something let you second guess yourself. Letting that sink in. Don't let other people's assessment of their experience let you second guess yourself, because they are not you. They are looking at it through their lens. You're looking at it through your lens, your ability to train, your past experience, your reason why you chose something in the beginning as well. Now, I do know of someone that went on an adventure and has admitted that they weren't at the fitness level. But if you have watched that Spirit of Adventure video with us, you will know that, we're a team and everybody is aiming to be successful as a team, and we help each other out. And if you put in the training, everyone's going to have some setbacks during training, guaranteed. The team is there to support you. But someone did come on one of our adventures who hadn't, she came last minute, she hadn't trained enough, but she did it. She did it. She may have been tired and she may have been sore, but she gave it a red hot go and the team carried her through. So she didn't listen to those other people doubting her. She actually just put in the effort and went, I'm going to make this work because this is really important to me. So, if you have an adventure booked and it's a couple of months out, there is still plenty of time. If hiking's important to you, it's not all, we love the dinner, the food and the wine, but it's that's just part of it. The experience of being, fit on the trail and seeing everything it has to offer is pretty amazing. But, this adventure gradings and the trail fitness talk is also about worries and anxiety. And great, Brod, I'm glad you're enjoying the tips. Worries and anxiety. And, I was chatting to someone today. If you're watching, you'll know who you are. I won't say names. And, once we solved one worry about something, the next worry crept in. It's like, okay, well, we've solved that. What are you next worried about? And then she said, such and such. And I said, all right, well, we've just solved that one. What are you next worried about? So we can just find things to worry about that might not ever happen. And the reality is you don't have to have done the adventure before you do the adventure. As we say and have been saying to our Couch to Mountain people, and we'll say this again in our multi-day webinar, is that there are a lot of skills that we will teach you here at Women's Fitness Adventures when you are out on the trail. And the partners and the guides that we have on our adventures work in tandem with us and really know their stuff, and we will transfer all of those skills. And some things you can't know till you're actually out on the trail. And I think in a world where, and I may have spoken about this last week, but here is Love Slap number 6, I think I'm up to. Hi, Sharon. Love Slap number 6 is in a world where you can Google the heck out of absolutely everything or YouTube the heck out of it all. There are no surprises and no delights. And I'm not sure when we got to that point where we felt we had to know everything and be experts and had to have it all solved and all figured out and all know that we were totally capable and would not skip a beat before we would actually step in and do something. When did that happen? When did we have to basically live the experience before we could actually do the experience? And we get so caught up in what will other people think? What if they have to wait? What if I'm the slowest? What if I'm this? What if I'm that? And you know what? So what if you are? If you've chosen the adventure right, if you've put in the training, if you've raised a hand and said, hey, I need some more support here, the benefits you are going to get are going to be phenomenal, because it means that it meant something to you. Now I'm giving you lots of love slaps and hopefully they are resonating or not. No one's commented otherwise, so just let me know. But lots of things can cause us to worry, and perhaps as women we're more the worrying type than others. But you know, yeah, I'm going to do that. Sandra says, thank you, Sandra. That is a really important way of looking at it, not to do the adventure before you actually do the adventure. Yeah. We can't know everything, and I think we spoke last week, part of this being outdoors and this sense of awe and what keeps us young is this sense of discovery and sense of learning all the time. And if we know everything, if we sit in our chair and we just YouTube it all, there's really point going, right? If you, the element of surprise and delight, the thrill of learning something new, of seeing something new, of knowing what's not around the next corner, in a safe way, of course, is I think part of the worry, but I also think part of the excitement as well. Ellen says, I think that often we don't know what we don't know. Absolutely. And that is something to be embraced. An adventure by its nature is exciting because we don't know what will happen. And Ellen, thank you very much for that, because Ellen was on our Black Label adventure earlier this year in New Zealand, and every single day there was a surprise that came their way and they didn't know. And that group of women were amazing with, oh, and by the way, today we have yoga. By the way, today we have a guest speaker. By the way, today we have a helicopter ride. By the way, today we have a jet boat ride. You know, they didn't know a whole lot of the stuff that was happening. And I'm sure that if maybe they did, they would have went, oh, I'm not doing that. That's not me. I don't know how to do that. So, you know, embrace that element of adventure. So thank you for sharing. And Leanne says, I had some of those worries, but your love slaps, yay, and the team support got me through. Yep. Sometimes love slap number, I'm going to say number 9, but it's not. I think it's number 7, is we just have to get over ourselves sometimes, you know. And if you're worried about something or second guessing yourself, go to the source, go to not the people who will tell you what you want or don't want to hear based on their experience. Go to the source, go to the person running the hiking adventure. If it's us, come to us if you're worried about something. Because Leanne was an absolute superstar on the trail, as were all the other women on the trail. And, what is one person's strength is another person's opportunity to grow. And, we all aren't experts going all uphill. Some of us don't like going downhill. Others are, excel when it's, rocky underfoot. It's all variable. But I think this business, love site number 8, this business of having to experience it all before we experience it has to stop. Has to stop. Okay. And we worry about things that we can't control as well. We've chosen our adventure. We've looked at it and went, I've chosen that adventure. It's whatever grading. I have the experience. I've done this multi-day before. And I succeeded at that. I have, the self-belief, but we start to beat ourselves up with the confidence from somebody else who starts to go, well, I had an experience and it was harder than I thought, or I had an experience and I hadn't trained enough, or I had an experience, and project that onto you. And so that has to stop. Was that number 9? That has to stop. But, we find things to worry about. And if we put that energy, that takes a lot of mental energy to find all these things to worry about, usually at 2 a.m. in the morning, 2 to 3 a.m. And a lot of those things never happen. So what if you've never used hiking poles before? We'll help you. So what if you aren't great on hills? We'll help you. We'll help you in the training. We'll teach you those skills. If you worry about getting lost, well, find the people that will take you that you won't get lost. If you worry about the weather, then get the right gear. Know what it's like when it's safe and when it's not safe to go. If you worry about having a meltdown, then, that happens. But, start to think about why the things that would get you to the point where you think it would, cause you to maybe worry too much or sense of panic and stuff like that, because they're all normal, common things. So I think these common worries that we have are another thing that we need to embrace as part of the adventure. And it's like, well, I don't know that, and I'm going to learn that. And then that's an opportunity to grow. The other thing, and I talk about the weather, and, there are times where we have had the worst weather ever. And if we had worried about that, and it never put us in an unsafe space, let me just assure you of that. If it is unsafe to go out in the weather, then, we will obviously make other plans. That's with us. I cannot speak about other organizations. But some of the best experiences we have had is when the weather was not good. And it really creates and we had the right gear though, creates a bonding opportunity. It creates a friendship. It creates these moments that cannot ever be scripted or planned. And a lot of the fond memories that I share of my days on the trails are when, we had absolutely no control over the weather. And one of those was with Jane eating soggy sandwiches in Tasmania. We're making our sandwiches in the rain. And then, of course, we had to eat soggy wet bread and it would get stuck here, and we just couldn't do it. And we still talk about that 9 years later. So, we ended up enjoying that adventure so much because it was nothing like we anticipated it would be. But, the other thing is that, as I said before, when we can, think that we have to know how to do it all. We think we have to know what's around every corner, what every single step is going to unfold like, how I'm going to feel after day one. And we think we have to know all that beforehand, all the doing, all the do the adventure before we do the adventure, is that, we really need to think about enjoying the experience. So rather than thinking I have to have ticked off all these things before I do it, it's like, well, I'm going to learn all this on my adventure and then I can tick it off as I go. We don't here, certainly at Women's Fitness Adventures, if we didn't think someone was right for an adventure they'd chosen into, we would put our hand up and say, hey, let's have a talk about this and let's see if this is right for you, because we want your hiking days to be long and forever, like keep going and going and going, not one long forever day. Just keep going and going for as long as you're able to hike. And that means that you want to set yourself up for success as well. So, start where you're at, or start where you don't start where you want to be. Start where you're at, and then set your goals on where you want to be, because you're never going to progress if you don't have those goals as well. And I know that, and Leanne is here on our recent Great Ocean Walk adventure, which was absolutely fantastic, the 10-year anniversary, is that you go into that adventure with a lot of, even me, I'm off to Greece on Saturday night. There's a lot of, it's a new adventure. I always do the new adventures. And, there's things I don't know about that trail. But what I do know is that I'm going to learn some skills in Greece from our Greek hiking guides. And there are going to be things that I don't know. But rather than see them as a worry or an anxiety or a, panic that I can't do this, I've heard from such and such that that's really hard, it's a learning opportunity. And, we've said this before too in our masterclasses, is, fording rivers isn't really something we have the opportunity to do here in Australia. But when we go on our adventures with our partners to Iceland or to New Zealand, or I think they're the only countries we've had to ford rivers of recent, we learn different skills because different countries do it in different ways. So we want to take all those skills that we learn. And I know that one of our ladies on the Great Ocean Road, on our second last day, the best day of all, was so worried that she wasn't going to be able to make that day. And she didn't share that until that night. And I'm so glad she didn't share it. She kind of kept it into her head, but she shared that night that she was so worried about that day that she didn't think she was going to make it. And that when she finished that day, she said it was nothing like I thought it would be in my head, that she had actually, built it up to be something that it wasn't. Because as you said, Ellen, we don't know what we don't know. So we tend to make up those stories in our head. And, I had some conversations during the week, and it was literally like, okay, I think you need to go and do that adventure before you do the adventure with us, because you're so worried about every single thing. But I want you to not do the adventure before you do the adventure, because you're going to learn so much and realize that every single day the adventure will go really, really fast. And the things that you worry about now aren't really anything that you needed to worry about before. So lots of going around in circles there. But the thing to do, if someone says to you, or if you say to someone, I'm thinking of doing this type of hiking, or I'm thinking of going here and doing hiking, is to really be careful what you ask, or phrase the question in such a way, and careful with the feedback that you give as well. And if you're seeking feedback from someone who has the same fitness level as you and the same hiking experience as you, then you're probably on equal footing, maybe. But if you're talking to someone who has a higher fitness level than you, or a higher, much more extensive hiking experience, or vice versa, then really listen carefully to the words or the questions you're asking, and really listen carefully to what they're saying back to you, because it is your projection that's asking the questions, and it's their lens that they're looking through that's giving you the answers as well. So I think that, going to the source of finding if the adventure is right for you is probably the most important thing that you can do. And any worries and concerns is you need to go back to the source and ask, because, I say to my husband all the time, if he wants to buy something, it's like, don't ask me. I'm not interested in that thing you're going to buy. Go and ask such and such. They love that kind of thing and they'll tell you to buy it. And then go and ask someone else. They don't like that sort of thing. They'll tell you not to buy it. So, think of it that way. And, you'll know deep down inside, on our adventures, we're not going to hang you out to dry. You just have to make sure that you choose wisely and do the right training. And we give you the training plans for that. So, it's really important to understand Love Slap number 10 is how to take the feedback, take it on board and use it to your advantage. Lots, and you can go, when we did many, many years ago, I think I've spoken about this as well. We did the 6-foot track, and there was at that time a swing bridge. It's been out of action for quite a while. And it was one of our very first adventures. And many of the girls on that trip didn't like swing bridges, so they YouTubed the heck out of it. And YouTube wasn't anything like it is now. And there were lots and lots of comments and lots of reviews. And some of those girls were in an absolute frenzy by the time we got to the swing bridge. And it turned out to be nothing like YouTube and nothing like they had thought. It's like when you go onto a trail app and you read people's reviews, oh gosh, one person might say, I walked to the summit and it took me 4 hours and it only said it was 2. And then another person will say, I walked to the summit and I did it in half an hour and did it with my 2-year-old and no problems at all. And so we'll take that feedback from strangers and go, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't do that because, that's too hard for me. Or maybe I should do that because if he can do it with a 2-year-old or she can, then that's really easy for me. But we're taking advice and we're taking information and knowledge from people we have no idea about. We don't know, whether they're ultra trail runners, or we don't know whether they're, social workers or whatever they might be. So it's the same as YouTube. YouTube, people put them on there for views, right? So the more extreme or the more out there or the more viral you can make it, the better the views. So I really want you to look at when you're seeking information, getting the right feedback and how to, Love Slap number 10, go through the feedback and, work out what's really the truth in all of this here as well. So I know there's lots of you watching, and I've been talking kind of, I think, in round circles for 10 love slaps for you, and I couldn't even tell you what the 10 are now. And only a couple of you have commented. So please let me know if this is helpful to you or not, because I really want to make sure that, if you choose an adventure, especially if you choose an adventure with us, that you're committed to that adventure and that you're using it based on your self-belief and your confidence and knowledge that you have around you and your ability to train and your ability to ask the right questions and, know where your skill set is or where it can go to, and to really embrace the opportunity of adventure and have that, let's really be open to this and see what can happen, because that's where the magic really, really happens. It's also important to understand about the adventure. Like, I know we all want to go everywhere and that looks great and that looks glamorous. But, if I did this, does that mean I can do that? Of course it does. If I trained for this and I know my training plan went well, if I want to step it up to the next level, would that work? Well, yes, it's a proven concept. If you trained, and we see that, we have seen that, absolutely seen that with our Couch to Mountainers who have trained for Couch to Mountain and who have trained for Couch to Mountain and then went on to use exactly the same principles that they learned in the Couch to Mountain program to book themselves into another adventure, whether it was with us or not. But they then went from having done, maybe been inactive with their fitness for quite a while and then followed the principles of the training program, were successful on the adventure, used all the same principles again. Maybe this is Love Slap number 11, and got themselves and were successful on another adventure. And it is just that proof of concept that they've done it before, and there's no reason to believe that it wouldn't happen again. Maybe that was last number 11. Thank you, Chrissy. Yeah, they are apt for any area of life. I think that we all can, take heed. And even myself, I'm no angel, no perfect person here. But, sometimes the voices of doubt can be so loud and so strong in our head that we actually need to get out of our own head and go, hey, this just has to stop. It really just has to stop, because sometimes we get so worked up and so worried about things that we don't know where it has to end. So we just have to go to the source. Leanne says here, I learned so much about myself as well as hiking through both the Couch to Mountain and Great Ocean Road hikes. Yeah, absolutely we do. And I often say that, hiking is like life. And someone said to me today, actually, at hiking, they said, congratulations on your 10 years, Yvonne. Did you have any idea 10 years ago that it was going to turn out to be what it is today? And I probably was a little bit flippant because I was focused on we'd just come up a big hill. And I said, no, but it was what I say to everyone about hiking is I made a commitment to myself to show up and to do this. And I like hiking. I knew that there would be days where there were hard hills and I would have to put in the big effort, sometimes thinking this hill is bigger than me, I can't do this. But having, as we say in hiking, and on our multi-days as well, having the faith to continually put one foot in front of the other, even though you don't know where that is going to take you, is important. And so that's what I did. I often say there are so many parallels to hiking as there are in life into anything. And as you said there, Chrissy, they really relate to any area. Now, I've been talking for a long time, but Leanne just reminded me that one of our every multi-day adventure that we have an awards and celebration evening, and those awards have been there since day one. For every multi-day adventure. And the awards are different every time, except for one award. And the one award is the Women's Fitness Adventures Spirit Award. Now, you don't get it on Couch to Mountain and you don't get it on our 100K hike programs, but you get it, one person gets it on every other adventure. And that Spirit Award is for literally that exactly what I explained is for the woman who is on our adventure and has that courage to, literally take that next step, even if we don't know where those steps are going to lead. And over the years, there's been many, many recipients of the Spirit Award, and it is a coveted award to achieve because it means that you stepped wholly into that adventure, that you stepped in fully, even though there may have been doubts and uncertainties about and big gulps for air of like, why am I here? How did I get into this space? But over the course of that adventure, that particular person has grown so much and learned so much about themselves that spirit of being brave, being bold, and being humble of what we try and have here at Women's Fitness Adventures is really embodied into that recipient of that award. There are many, many other awards as well, but that one is there. So I hope you have enjoyed the 10 love slaps that I've given you, or 11, I think there were tonight. And that, understanding those adventure gradings, but going back to your own self-belief and confidence and, going to the source of, of who are you really asking the questions of? Because, if you're not asking the questions of the person that is objective, then you're going to get it through somebody else's lens. And also checking in of the questions you're asking, are they coming through your lens of fear, of excitement, of opportunity, of growth, or are they coming, from, maybe from excuse or not being able to make it a priority. So have a think about all of that as well. So that has been a long Monday Night Live, but maybe I'm making up for it because I'm not here next week. But I do hope that you will join us this week for our members. We have book club tomorrow night. I've got some reading to do. We have Wednesday night, we have our Corsica Ready, Set, Go. On Thursday night, we have our final Couch to Mountain webinar. So if you are interested in learning more about that program, there are still a few spots left for a Couch to Mountain this year. So come along to the webinar and learn more and go from there. And then I will be jetting off to Athens on Saturday night. So I'm pretty excited about that. Let me just check a couple of things here before we go. Leonie's looking forward to booking her first multi-day hike, being able to challenge herself. Super. So some of the expressions of interest are up there for next year. They're all not there yet. Jelena says, what you offer for women is beyond words. When you do the training, you can enjoy the adventure. Absolutely, Jelena. And we were just talking today about our adventure with you that we had earlier this year in New Zealand, how fabulous it was. And Susan says, who was our stadium stomp head stepper yesterday, I have learned a lot from Women's Fitness Adventures, and to have faith in your training programs, as they will help you to be able to not only complete the hike, but enjoy it as well. And it just comes down, thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your thoughts. It comes down to, understanding, committing, making it a priority, and then really, reaping the rewards of what you put in, and, that commitment to self and doing something for self every day. Anyway, it's been a long Monday Night Live. Thank you for tuning in. I look forward to catching up with you wherever I come from next week. So it could be any time. It's the other side of the world, so it could be any time. And I will share a new Greek word with you every day next week. Yeah, that's what I'll do. So take care till then, and I look forward to catching up with you then. Bye.